We are deep into the winter nights. You, of course, would have been feeling the cold front that has hit us this entire week, which started in the Western Cape. Now, as we sit in front of our heaters, those of us who have that privilege with our warm blankets, our hot water bottles, drinking soup and having hearty meals, others, and a lot of us don't actually realize this, are in dire need of those necessities. In fact, others are in dire need of just a blanket, Faith.
Absolutely. So the Salvation Army actually has taken up the call to assist, requesting blankets as well as food donations. To discuss this further, we're joined now by Salvation Army's Velani Burthelezi. Thank you so much, Velani, for your time this morning. I mean, we're talking here about just a season that sometimes has got the most cruelest forms of revelations of the inequalities that exist within the South African discourse. And right now we're facing a lot of people that are living below the poverty line who do not have the resources to actually help them weather out the winter season. And that's just a reality for many South Africans. How are they coping?
Good morning to you. Good morning to the viewers at home. As you've already mentioned, we are doing our annual winter relief campaign. The theme for this year is about seeing winter with a different eyes. What do we mean about that? Is, as you've already mentioned, we've got, the rich and the poor, the gap is huge. And with implications of COVID-19, implications of looting in your KZN and Johannesburg, complications of recent floods and fires and all that, the desperate goes higher. So the expectation is very high. So I must just confess and tell you, for us on the field, going down, seeing really people in need, the need is huge out there. Look, I just mentioned in Johannesburg last week, we had a problem with Maya fires. You know that the fire went down and burned. So in the midst of our winter relief campaign, which was launched on the end of May, the 30th of May, we've launched winter relief campaign where we gave more than 250, almost 300 blankets to people without homes here in Johannesburg. And now that is adding into a load. As I'm talking to you, a day before yesterday, we were there where they are sheltered at the moment, in temporarily. We had to give out blankets. We have to give them hot meals, So the need is high out there, I must just say.
Velani, you can almost not plan. In fact, you can never plan for things like the Guamamai informal settlement fires. So those just rock up on you and you have to then be quick with, your aid. But winter comes every year and we know that winter will come. And if the last couple of winters have taught us anything, each winter is only about getting colder. So why then don't the likes of the Salvation Army maybe have these campaigns, these initiatives of, trying to get as much blankets and extra clothing and such during the summer? When people are now wearing less clothing and they're wondering what are they going to do with it. We sometimes only remember that, hey man, we've got, I've got some extra clothing when it is winter, and now you never know where to go and what to do, and you then stay with it. So why then don't these campaigns run in seasons where people don't use their winter clothing and you're like, hey, it's summer. Remember that winter, how cold it was? How about you bring some of those things for next winter, because we don't know how cold it might be?
Look, my brother, to be honest, that's what we are trying to do in our own way, because winter relief campaign in the Salvation Army is one of the campaigns that we do annually. So obviously one will prepare for winter campaign, in which we were prepared, as I'm mentioning to you that we are still working, we're doing these things. But I'm mentioning this because over and above, just to be honest with you, you know that we were hard at work, and which we still are in KZN. With the floods, you know what I mean? So all that, because we prepare, whatever that we do is based on what the public is giving us. So the focus has been shifted, not that we rejected. So I'm answering the question based on why don't we were prepared. We are trying to prepare in our own way. We kickstart the campaign, as I've already mentioned to you, end of May. We do what we can do. But we cannot avoid the situation as it now. While we are dealing with this, and then you already prepared, what do I say? I'll leave this for winter, but people are dying in KZN with floods. You know what I mean? That's a challenge we faced, and it's a reality from us, my brother.
Yeah.
And while we're busy with winter, and it's all come together because the problem is winter. So now I'm sitting with people without shelters in my because of that fire. So it overlaps. That's how. So it's part of it's all together. I don't know how to explain this to you, but in terms of preparing, we do prepare for these things. But over and above, the need is high, my brother. The demands and the situation as it is very difficult. It's tough.
Yeah. You know, Velani, as you're speaking about this, I remember that even when it comes to the floods in KZN, the Salvation Army was also offering psychosocial support. So it was also around, counsellors being able to be on the ground and offer that, social or psychological support to those that were displaced and those that lost loved ones, which means that, again, the need is really high at this time of the country. How can the community help? What do we need to do to get on board, to jump on board? How do we put our hands together and actually make a difference?
Like yesterday night around 10, I arrived from KZN, Durban. Yeah, I was just there. Firstly, let me just, before they ask, let me recognize South Africans. To be honest with you, we've been receiving a very good support from the public, from corporate, from some trust, supporting the Salvation Army initiative, especially with KZN and other incidents that need us to help. So I'm continuing to encourage and appeal to the public to continue support the initiatives that the Salvation Army is doing. So how do you support us then? You go to our website, you go to www.salvationarmy.org.za. You see where how can you support us in terms of giving us money, but you can even drop food, you can drop blankets, you can drop clothes into your nearest Salvation Army, or call myself, Velani Burthelezi, on 082 9944 351, 082 9944 351. Thank you.
Velani, thank you so much. Firstly, thank you very much for being so, out there with your contact details, because it's not something that we would always encourage, but we understand the situation you're in. We understand the position that you're in. So we definitely do greatly appreciate you putting out your personal details even to make sure that, get as many people on the ground as possible. But also, www.salvationarmy.org.za is also another platform that you can go to. But of course, we are hoping that people are hearing you, Velani, and not just ordinary South Africans, but corporates as well, because big businesses can also make an even bigger difference in this fight that we are trying to combat, which is a fight of winter, and a fight of people living beyond their means, or people that are living below, of course, the poverty line and cannot do for themselves. But we will leave it there for this morning, Putu. Thank you so much. That is Velani Burthelezi, of course, who is from the Salvation Army. And again, if you do have extra anything, food, you can never have extra food with the cost of living. But if you have extra clothing, for example, blankets and such things, it's not just the Salvation Army that are pushing these campaigns. There are a number of other charity organizations. People out there are dying from cold. It's not even a matter of you just freezing. People are actually dying from the cold. So if you're able to help, it is tough times, but if you are able to spare something, please do so.